Today on the workbench I've got a new project here. This is an Athearn Genesis SD70M. So what we're going to put in this is, of course we'll go with the Soundtraxx decoder. I'll end up putting a decoder buddy in it. We'll change out the lights. This has got the grain of wheat bulbs in it. So we'll get the ditch lights all fixed up. And let's see, I've got a scale sound system speakered for this. So we'll just jump right into it here. And we'll start by removing the couplers. Oop. Get that out of the way. I'll probably end up putting a TCS Keep Alive in this also. Well, there's no probably about it. I know I will. So we'll wipe the excess oil off of that. And I've got a couple of things in the background there you can hear idling away. We'll end up changing out these couplers, putting KDs in it. So I know that shell will pop off. I was hoping I could just take the couplers off, but and then be able to pull the whole thing, but I can't do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull these handrails off of the front here because they're attached to the cab. Well, that was my plan. Let me get something else here. There's that one. And there's that one. So hopefully so it's got little clips in there that I need to get out, so I'm gonna get off camera here before I break something. There we go. So you can see the little clip there that was holding. And there's all my wiring for my bulbs. So go ahead. I'm just going to cut all of that because I'm not going to reuse any of it. So I'll have to put that back on. But anyway, that's where we're starting. Now I can pull this off. So I'll get the wires here for the ditch lights. And I don't want to cut the wires for the pickups. There we go. So we can set all that aside. And this thing did run on DC, ran really well. So I'll go ahead and pull those clips off. Yeah, really the only wiring that I'm going to save in this whole thing are the track pickups. Then we'll remove that board. Cut that. So there's our factory Athearn board taken out, and I'll end up junking that thing. I don't keep any of that stuff. Probably should. Somebody could probably use it, but the chances of me finding somebody to use it are probably slim to none. So we'll get this old tape off of here. Don't need that. Stuff is everywhere. They didn't want anything coming off, that's for sure. Alright, so there. Now we're ready to start the reconstruction process. I'll get my decoder buddy out and we'll figure out where we're going from there. Okay, now that we've got everything out of this, my 2-scale sound system speakers, the front one, I can mount it with no problem to the existing weight. The rear one, I'm going to have to modify the rear weight. So it'll end up sitting here. I'll have to take part of this out. I'll grind it out. So what we'll have to do is we'll go ahead and we need to pull the motor out. So we can get that. It's got 4 screws there in the bottom. And I'll take the I'll put the part number for the speaker in the description. So there's that. Push that screw out. And then these should just snap off. Let me get out a knife. Sometimes those come off fairly easily and sometimes they don't. So there's the front truck and the front shaft. There's the rear. So we'll get that all cleaned up before we put it back together too. Now I'm laying all this out off camera here, the direction it came out in. That way I know how to put it back together. You see, this thing has plenty of lube on it. Wouldn't have to grease this thing for another 20 years. Of course, by then it'd be all set up. You wouldn't be able to do anything with it. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to take and I'm just going to set this speaker right even with the edge there, and get out a pencil, mark that. Same on the other side. You can see that line right there. And I'll take this section of weight out. A little piece of something there. No big deal. We'll put that, put it on the sander, and I'll mill that out, and then, yeah, I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so we've come back and we've got our frame milled. You can see that right there. What I did, I took it and put it on my bandsaw, cut the majority of it out, and then hit it with the belt sander a little bit, and then put it on my, I've got a small Proxxon milling machine. So that'll end up sitting there like that. And then we've got that one will sit there like that. So now we're ready to start the process of putting it all back together. But that's all I'm going to do for tonight. So, alright. We're ready to start putting this back together. So let me pull these off. And we can get our front trucks out. There's that. Yeah, we'll get all this back in. It's got plenty of grease on it, so we're in good shape there. There's our rear. Get our cap back on. So while I've got this out, I'm going to cut these little tabs off of the motor. That way our decoder buddy will be able to sit flush. And those little pieces hurt when they come flying off of there. Take smaller bites at them, I guess. So there we've got our tabs cut off. Okay, there's our motor back in. Now, yeah, I can do that. I've got the little plastic sides off for the fuel tank. So there we got everything back together. So that'll sit there, and we'll have that there. So now I'll take, let me clean that off, and we can get our double-sided tape out. Some rubbing alcohol. Get that one. Clean the bottom of that off. And I'll put a piece of tape across the top of that. Let's see. Get my thinner tape out, or not thinner, but narrower tape out. Well, I tell you, this speaker isn't going to go anywhere. Oops, I didn't put that down low enough. There we go. So now this front speaker I'm going to hold off on because I'll run my wires in the channel. So we'll get our tape on this. Just because I've got it out. Now this rear speaker, I will go ahead and mount it. I'm going to do this off camera because you don't want to watch me fight this. So now we've got that rear speaker mounted. I've got the decoder buddy out that I'm going to use. And we'll go ahead and clean this off a little bit. That way I can put more tape on. Let that dry. So this one shouldn't be that bad to start. Alright, there's our decoder buddy. Get our track pickups on. Let me remove the light board here. We'll turn my soldering iron on. Untwist those. And I always figure I've got a 50-50 shot at which way that wire goes. And we'll just go ahead and get these things trimmed up and fluxed and tinned. And yep. I was hoping I could get that up through the hole without putting a flux and tin on it. Or, yeah, without tinning it. And then just tin it all at one time. But I couldn't. So now we start the process of soldering. Alright. Now we'll see if we can't get that up through there. And I really don't worry about the orientation of these, because there can be CV change made. There's that. But I will take and I'll put my track pickups on, at least the front ones here, and that way I can tell if I do have it going the right way. Now, let me get out. I'll put a board on that and I'll test it to see if I got it going the right way. I'll be back here in a minute. Okay, so my little test was, well, it worked, but it was in the wrong direction. So I've changed the wires around. And now we'll go ahead and get these soldered in. So we're there with that. That's in good shape. Clean that off a little bit. I guess if I really wanted to, I could have upgraded that with a brand new Genesis motor. But I didn't. So really, I can put this front speaker on now because my lights will end up going up and over. So I'll be able to put them on the lighting board and use the shell. But anyway. So there's that side. What I want to try to do is run these around these back pickup wires. And I'll cut that off. So there's that one. Might as well do these one at a time. So there's that one. Only cutting like 3/8 of an inch of wire off of that. Okay. Keep finding little parts of stuff, and I'm not sure where they're coming from. But we've got our track pickups hooked up. Got our motor hooked up. Like I say, I can go ahead and put this front speaker in. So let me see if I can get this double-sided tape off here. So there's the front speaker. Now I can go ahead and wire those up. And I've got some scrap wire here. Now I'm going to run this in series. So I'm going to hook up one side, and I'll use the board to go back. To the other speaker. Let's see. I think that's right. I've done it before, but I can't, for some reason I can't. It just escapes me right at the moment. So I've hooked the negative side up to one speaker pad. I'm going to take the positive side and hooked to this speaker pad. If I can get this turned around here. So now I'll run one from this negative over to this positive. It would be nice if I could use the board for that, but I can't. So, let's see. See if I have a big enough piece of wire. Oh yeah. And I don't worry about the colors, the wires. That means nothing. I guess if you're troubleshooting. But since this is mine, really don't worry about it. All you need to troubleshoot is a good meter. I better tin that end. Okay. Yep. Hindsight. Probably should have cut that down a little bit. But yeah, I'm gonna have to take that off there and cut it down. I do not like that at all. And the other thing I'll do is I'll route it down through these holes. So I cut about 3/4 of an inch off of it. Okay. There we go. So now we've got motor control going the right way. I'll put the decoder on it. And we'll try it out. So I'll be back in a minute. Alright, so we're coming down to the end here. Of course, everything works. What I'm going to put in now, I've got a TCS, this is a KA4 Keep Alive. And I'm going to put it here behind this rear speaker because we have plenty of room back here. Yep. So I'll get out another cotton swab here and we'll get this thing cleaned off. Put some tape right there. And then we'll clean that side. I'll put it right onto the speaker. Close up the alcohol before I knock that over. Turn the soldering iron on. Then I can get out double-sided tape. So we've got that. The next thing we'll do, we'll be putting our the LEDs in this. Those tweezers are getting to the point where I can't hardly do anything with them. And I don't know why I put that up there that high. So there we'll have that. I'm going to run my wires up through this mounting hole in the Decoder Buddy. Then we can run those down there. And so it's labeled on the back side what wire goes where. So this pad right here, that is the power, and then this is the ground. Yep. And if you're using an ESU decoder, you can put your white wire right there. Turn that light down just a little bit. So the first one is my power. So now we'll go ahead and flux and tin that. So there's one. And then this is the ground. So let me see what that looks like. Okay. So far, we've got everything on there. Now, I'm going to push that out of the way. And there's our small lighting board. But what I've got, these are 0402 SMD LEDs. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to put them, so we've got the rear headlight, of course we've got the front headlight, and then there's the ditch lights. So I'm not going to do that on camera because it takes so long to do. It's going to be my normal method. I do have a video out there on how I do the lights. So you can watch that, and it's all the same. Now I will show you how I hook them up to the board, but I'm not going to show you me running the wires through everything. So when I get a little farther, I'll show you what I've got, and then we can go from there. So we'll end up using 4 functions. I'll have two LEDs here in the back for this rear headlight. I'll have 2 up here in the front for that headlight, and then there'll be 1 light in each ditch light. So I'll end up using a total of 3 functions. So the front and rear light, and then I'll use one function each for the ditch lights. That way I can have them, they'll alternate. So I'm going to turn this off, and I'll be back when I have the lights installed. Okay. Let me zoom out there. So I have all of the lights in, and the rear ones are in, and here's the wiring for it. So nothing spectacular, just took me a while to do it. So now what we'll do is we'll connect these to our Decoder Buddy, the light board. This is just an old one I've got taped to this little spool here, and we'll go ahead and start fastening these wires down, or soldering them down to the board. So this set of wires I've got here is the rear light, and of course you can, I don't know if you can read that or not, but this corner back here, this is for the rear, this is the front, and then on the side here, this is the positive side, or common side. So I can use any one of those for the positive. And then I'll probably just use A1 and A2 for my ditch lights. So it won't be anything too complicated. We'll just go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and I'm running them down through the holes right there. And I'll cut this off. Yeah. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and cut a little bit off now just to get a little bit farther down in there. So there's the first two wires. So now I'm going to go ahead and you'll notice I use two different kinds of flux. When I'm doing it on the pads and on the boards like that, I like to use the liquid flux. And then when I'm doing it on just the wires themselves, I like to use the paste. I just find it easier that way. If I put the paste on the board, I make too big a mess. If I put it the other way around, I make a mess trying to put the liquid onto the wires. So that was the rear lights. This is the front lights I'm connecting now. And I'll show you a close-up of this one. When I get it done. So there's my front lights hooked up. Now we'll go ahead and do each one of these ditch lights. So there's that. Get my other function wire. My black is the function, red is the common, or positive. And you can probably hear that steam locomotive blowing off in the back. So I've got a Tsunami, one of the new Soundtraxx decoders with the Bluetooth in it, and I was just trying something the other day. I've got a Keep Alive in it, so I can shut the power off, and with the power off, you still have control of your locomotive, which I find that to be a great thing in case you know, something would happen. Power shut off and you need to shut down real quick. I haven't done a video on one of the Tsunamis yet, but they're the same as any of the rest of the decoders. Okay, so there's all of our lighting functions. Let me try and zoom in here. Oop. So we've got, this is our forward, and then this is our reverse. This is one ditch light, this is the other ditch light. This is the common or positive, and these reds over here are the commons or positives. So right now, this thing is ready to be hooked up. Well, it's almost ready to be hooked up. I need to trim the wires off back here. So, and I've actually got this decoder, it's idling up there on that test track. So I'll pull it down. I've got the Keep Alive on it. So we've probably got, and you can still see the blue light, so we've probably got 5 seconds, 6 seconds out of that before the sound shut off. Now I am going to wait for a second. I'm going to wait for that blue light to shut off before I plug those lights in. So basically we're done other than plugging it in. All we got to do is put it back together. Okay. Make sure my decoder's on there. So there we go. We're hooked up. I'm going to go ahead and I'll put this back together, and then the next time you see it, I'll have it up on the test track. So, alright, I'll be back. Alright, here we are up on the turntable. We've got this project completed. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll turn the headlights on. And of course you saw the ditch lights come on there. I did go ahead and change the functions on this and put the ditch lights on with the headlight, so it's just a one button operation now. But I do have it to where they do flash, and I did set the flash rate down a little bit. So I think that makes it look a little better. But let's go ahead and we'll start this thing up. So, you know, like normal with these scale sound system speakers, it does have a really good sound to it. Go ahead and notch up a little bit. That's speed step 8 right there, or notch 8 I mean. So we'll go ahead and start backing that down. So now we're back down to idle right there. But yeah, this was a good little project, and I'm glad we're done with it. So, I mean, it does need a little touch up on the handrails with the paint. But other than that, you know, this is a pretty good looking locomotive, and it does run pretty smooth, I will say that. So, let me hit speed step 1 here. So yeah, for what it is, and I can always set that speed down if I want to. That's no big deal. But yeah, it looks pretty good. Alright. Thanks for watching.